You are at war. Right now. You feel it every time you hesitate, every time you doubt yourself, every time you sabotage a victory before you even step onto the field. Your most significant enemy doesn't live out there in the world. Your most dangerous enemy has set up camp inside your own mind. It feeds on your fear, it weaponizes your past, and it narrates a story of your limitations on a loop. This book is your declaration of war. This is your strategic plan, your boot camp, and your path to permanent victory in the only battle that truly matters. The battle for control of your own thoughts. Listen closely. Your freedom depends on it. Listen to me. Right now, as you're listening to this, I want you to picture your mind. What does it look like in there? For most people, it's a mess. It's a dusty, cluttered, overcrowded warehouse. The shelves are buckling. In one aisle, you've got every past failure, every embarrassment, every time you got rejected, packaged up in neat little boxes labeled "Proof I'm Not Good Enough." In another aisle, it's all the future anxieties. The what-ifs. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I'm not smart enough, strong enough, good enough? And scattered all over the floor are half-finished projects, dreams you once had, and the constant low hum of other people's opinions. This is how most people live. Their mind is a storage unit for their own suffering, a passive repository for junk, and they pay rent on this place every single day with their energy, their focus, and their potential. This ends now. Your mind is not a warehouse. It is a weapon, a precision instrument, a sniper rifle, not a storage locker. A weapon has one purpose: focused, decisive action. It is clean. It is calibrated. It exists for a single, unambiguous mission. Your mind must be the same. The shift you must make, starting this second, is from passive storage to active execution. From being a curator of your clutter to being a master of your focus. That's the key. The warehouse mind stores problems. The weapon mind solves them. You have a choice. You can keep living in the clutter, or you can pick up the weapon. It's not about how smart you are. It's about how disciplined you are with the intelligence you already possess. So, how do you make the shift? How do you clear out the junk and start aiming? You need a protocol. A simple, repeatable, non-negotiable process that you run for any decision, any goal, any moment of hesitation. You don't need their permission to use it. You just need to deploy it. I call it the execution protocol. ADA, assess, decide, act. Let's break it down. Step 1, assess. This is a tactical scan, not a deep psychological dive. You have a situation, a goal, a problem. The warehouse mind starts decorating the shelves with it. Ooh, let's think about this from every possible angle for 6 months. Let's research until we're paralyzed. Let's feel all the feelings about it. No. Assessment is a 5-second laser beam. What are the facts? Not the feelings. The facts. What resources do I have right now? What is the very next physical, tangible step? That's it. You're not writing a novel. You're gathering intel. Clean, fast, clinical. Step 2. Decide. This is a point of no return. The warehouse mind is terrified of this step. It loves maybes. It thrives on someday. Deciding kills someday. Deciding makes things real. It creates consequence. So you make the choice. You say, I will do this, or I will not do that. There is no, I'll try. There is no, we'll see. There is only yes or no. You have a choice. Make it. The weapon is now aimed. The crosshairs are on the target. Indecision is what fills the warehouse. Decision is what clears the space for action. Step 3. Act. This is where you pull the trigger. This is the only step that matters in the real world. Thinking is not doing. Deciding is not doing. Only action is doing. Action is the great exterminator of anxiety. Action is the force that clears the clutter. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel motivated. You just need to execute the first physical movement. Send the email. Make the call. Write the first sentence. Do the first rep. The protocol is useless without this final, crucial step. ADA. Assess, decide, act. The repetitive phrase you must burn into your brain is this. Thinking is not doing. Deciding is not doing. Only action is doing. Let's make this real. Let's look at 2 people. Meet David. David has an idea for a business. A good one. His mind, his warehouse immediately starts filling up. He researches the best LLC structures for weeks. He buys books on marketing he never finishes. He thinks about a logo. He worries about what his friends will think if he fails. He dreams about the freedom. But the dream just becomes another box on the shelf, covered in the dust of someday. 2 years later, David is still thinking about it. His warehouse is more crowded than ever. His weapon is rusted shut. Now, meet Sarah. Sarah has the same idea, the same initial doubts. But she understands her mind is a weapon. She runs the protocol. Assess. Fact. I have an idea. Fact. I have a laptop and an internet connection. The next tangible step is to create a one-page website and offer my service to one person. 5 seconds. Decide. I will do this. I will have a basic site up and will have contacted one potential client within 24 hours. The decision is made. Act. She builds a crude, simple website in a few hours. It's not perfect. It's embarrassing even. She then sends a message to a former colleague offering her service. She pulls the trigger. What happens? Maybe the colleague says no. But now, Sarah has real-world data, not warehouse anxiety. She can assess again, based on reality. Maybe the colleague says yes. Now she has a client, momentum, and a cleared mind. Within 2 years, Sarah has a real business. Not because her idea was better than David's, but because her mind was a weapon, not a warehouse. The difference wasn't the idea. It was the discipline. It's not about motivation, it's about protocol. It's not about feeling ready, it's about being decisive. You have a choice. You can be David, curating your clutter, or you can be Sarah, executing your mission. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever own. Stop treating it like a dumpster for your fears. Forge it into a weapon for your will. Assess the situation. Decide your move. And then, without hesitation, act. Thinking is not doing. Deciding is not doing. Only action is doing. You've just armed yourself with the protocol for decisive action. But a weapon is useless if you can't control the noise in your own head. To master execution, you must first master the space between your thoughts. You must learn to be silent. Listen up. Right now, I want you to take a mental step back. I want you to look at what's happening inside your own head. What do you see? For most people, it's a mess. It's a storage locker, a dusty, overflowing warehouse. In one corner, you've got the box of past failures. The time you embarrassed yourself, the project that crashed and burned, the rejection that stung. You've kept it all, carefully stored away. In another corner, you've got the shelf of future anxieties. The what-ifs. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I'm not good enough? And scattered all over the floor is the daily junk, the pointless worries, the distractions, the noise. This is how most people live. Their mind is a warehouse, a passive, cluttered storage unit for everything that's gone wrong and everything that could go wrong. And they wonder why they feel heavy, why they feel stuck. It ends now. Your mind is not a warehouse. It is a weapon, a precision instrument, forged for a single purpose, focused execution. A warehouse stores, a weapon acts. That's the key. The shift from passive storage to active deployment is the single most important upgrade you will ever make. You have a choice. You can keep your mind cluttered and passive, or you can sharpen it into a tool of immense power. Think about a samurai sword. It's not designed to hold things. It's not a shelf. It's designed for one thing, to cut cleanly and decisively. Your mind must be the same. It must be honed to assess a situation and act, to cut through the noise, the doubt, the fear, to execute. Your mind is a weapon, and from this moment forward, you will treat it as one. So, how do you make the shift? How do you stop being a curator of your own mental junk and start being a warrior who wields a sharp blade? You need a system, a protocol. You need to stop thinking about and start doing. I'm going to give you a simple, brutal, and repeatable protocol for any decision, any goal, any moment of hesitation. It has 3 steps: assess, decide, act, ADA. This isn't a complicated philosophy. It's a drill, and you will run this drill until it's muscle memory. Step 1. Assess. This is your intelligence gathering. It is a cold, hard, and time-limited look at the reality of your situation. You are not allowed to get emotional here. You are not allowed to ruminate. You are simply gathering facts. What is the goal? What are the immediate obstacles? What resources do I have right now? This should take minutes, maybe hours. It should never take days. Analysis paralysis is the enemy. You are a scout, not a committee. Assess the terrain and move on. You don't need their permission to see the world as it is. Step 2. Decide. This is the point of no return. Based on your assessment, you make a choice. You commit to a single path. Not 5 paths, 1. This is where you point your weapon. Indecision is a form of self-torture. It's you keeping your weapon sheathed while the battle rages. A bad decision is almost always better than no decision, because a bad decision creates data, creates momentum, creates a result you can work with. No decision creates nothing but more anxiety. So, you decide, cleanly, firmly. Step 3. Act. This is where the weapon meets the target. This is the only step that matters in the external world. Thinking is not doing. Deciding is not doing. Only action is doing. Action is the physical manifestation of your will. It is the one and only thing that changes your circumstances. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to happen. A small, imperfect, messy action is 1,000 times more powerful than the most elegant, well-reasoned, beautifully detailed plan that never leaves the notebook. You don't need their permission to act. You just act. Let me make this brutally clear with a real-world example. Meet Alex. Alex has a dream of starting his own business. He's got a great idea. So what does Alex do? He uses his mind as a warehouse. He stores all the information. He reads business books for years. He creates elaborate business plans. He researches competitors. He thinks about logos. He worries about the economy. He's afraid to launch until everything is perfect. He's storing and storing and storing. His mental warehouse is full of business knowledge, but it's all packed away in boxes, collecting dust. 5 years later, Alex is still thinking about starting his business. He is a walking, talking storage unit. His weapon has never been drawn. Now, meet Sam. Sam also has an idea. It's maybe not as polished as Alex's, but Sam's mind is a weapon. She hears about the ADA protocol, so she runs it. Assess. Okay, I have a skill people might pay for. My immediate obstacle is I have no clients. My resource is I have a laptop and an internet connection. Assessment complete. Decide. I will get my first paying client within 1 week. Decision made. Act. Within 24 hours, Sam does not create a 50-page business plan. She doesn't buy a domain name. She acts. She sends 3 direct personal emails to people she knows, offering a single, specific service for a low, introductory price. The action is small. It's imperfect. 1 email has a typo. She feels a little embarrassed. But she acted. Thinking is not doing. Deciding is not doing. Only action is doing. Who do you think has a business after 1 month? Alex with his perfect stored plan? Or Sam with her imperfect, messy action? The answer is obvious. Sam, because she used her mind as a weapon. She assessed the reality, decided on a target, and fired. She might have missed with those first 3 emails. So what? She gets new data. She adjusts her aim. She fires again. She is in the game. Alex is still in the warehouse, looking at his blueprints. This is your life. It's not about having the perfect idea. It's about the discipline of execution. It's not about your fear, it's about your action. The ADA protocol is your drill. For every goal, for every moment of hesitation, assess, decide, act. The repetitive phrase you must burn into your brain is this. Thinking is not doing. Deciding is not doing. Only action is doing. Your mind is a weapon. Stop storing. Start acting. You've just sharpened your greatest tool. But a weapon is only as powerful as the hand that wields it. And that hand is controlled by a will that must be unbreakable. To build that will, you must master the one force that can silence all others. Let's get one thing straight, right now. You are in a war. A silent civil war for the throne of your own mind. And on the other side of that war is a terrorist. This terrorist doesn't wear a mask or carry a weapon you can see. Its weapon is a whisper in your ear at the worst possible moment. Its tactic is sabotage. Its goal is to keep you small, safe, and docile inside your cage. This terrorist is your fear. And today, we end the diplomacy. This chapter has one mission, to make you understand in your bones that you cannot reason with this entity. You cannot negotiate with a terrorist who holds your potential hostage. You've all met this terrorist. It's the voice that says, maybe you shouldn't send that email. It's the feeling in your gut that screams, don't approach them. You'll look like a fool. It's the paralyzing thought that whispers, what if I fail? Everyone will see. This terrorist has taken your dreams, your ambitions, your very potential, and it's holding them for ransom. The price? Your compliance, your comfort, your inaction. And what do most people do? They sit down at the negotiating table. They try to reason with it. Okay, fear, they say. You're right. I won't go to the gym today. I'll go tomorrow, I promise. But tomorrow the terrorist has a new demand. Not today, it says. You're too tired. You had a long day. Just one more day on the couch. They try to make deals. If I just research this business idea for 6 more months, then I'll be ready to launch. 6 months later, the terrorist insists you need another 6 months. There's always another excuse, another condition, another reason to stall. Let me be brutally clear. This is an illusion. Compromise with fear is surrender. You are negotiating for scraps of a life you were meant to command. Every time you try to reason, to analyze, to find a middle ground, you are losing the war. The terrorist doesn't want a peace treaty. It wants your unconditional surrender. You have a choice. You can keep sitting at that table begging for your life back, or you can stand up, flip the table, and take it. The terrorist only understands one language, the language of decisive, physical action. It doesn't care about your thoughts. It doesn't care about your feelings. It only responds to motion, to a demonstration of power that proves you are no longer under its control. So, how do you flip the table? You need a weapon that is faster than thought. You need a rule that bypasses the negotiation entirely. I call it the 5-second rule of engagement. Here's how it works. It's simple, deceptively simple. And that's the point. The moment you feel the hesitation, the moment the terrorist's whisper starts in your mind, the moment you feel that familiar pull to stay, to stop, to retreat, you activate the rule. You count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you physically move. You don't think. You don't consider the countdown. You don't ask for permission. You just do it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Your body must move before your mind can protest. If the fear is about public speaking, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and your hand shoots up in the meeting. If the fear is about the gym, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're lacing up your shoes and walking out the door. If the fear is about a difficult conversation, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're dialing the number, that's the key. This isn't a thinking exercise. This is a launch sequence. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is you seizing control from the amygdala, the primitive part of your brain that screams danger. At every new opportunity, you are hijacking your own instinct to freeze. You are telling the terrorist, the conversation is over. Now, your mind will rebel. It will scream, wait, I need to think about this. What are the consequences? What if it goes wrong? This is the terrorist making one last, desperate attempt to get you back to the negotiating table. Your response must be a repetitive mantra, a drill sergeant in your own head. Burn this phrase into your consciousness. Do not negotiate. Do not analyze. Act. Say it out loud if you have to. Do not negotiate. You are not having that conversation anymore. The debate is closed. Do not analyze. You are not trying to figure out the perfect moment, the perfect words, the perfect plan. That's just negotiation in a clever disguise. Act. Move your body. Force the first physical step. That is the only thing that matters. The analysis comes after the action, not before. Let me repeat that, because this is where most lives are lost in the battlefield of hesitation. The analysis comes after the action, not before. You don't figure everything out and then act. You act, and then you figure it out along the way. Action generates the data, the confidence, the momentum. Pre-action analysis is just fear wearing a lab coat, pretending to be smart. You don't need their permission. You don't need the terrorist's permission to live your life. You don't need your fear's blessing to be great. Every single time you use the 5-second rule, you are doing 2 things. First, you are completing a mission. You're sending that email, you're making that call, you're doing that rep. Second, and more importantly, you are training for war. You are building the neural pathways of courage. You are proving to yourself with brutal consistency that you are the one in charge. This isn't about eliminating fear. That's a fantasy. The terrorist never fully leaves. It's about making it irrelevant. It's about building so much momentum through action that its whispers are drowned out by the roar of your own progress. You have a choice. You can listen to the terrorist and get the life it wants for you, a life of quiet desperation, of what if, of compromise and regret. Or you can use the 5-second rule, act despite the fear, and build the life you were meant to lead. The rule is your weapon. The mantra is your shield. Do not negotiate. Do not analyze. Act, stop talking. Start doing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've just taken control of the battlefield. You've learned to act before the fear can chain you down. But this war has another front, a quieter, more insidious one. It's not just the fear that shouts. It's the internal voice that never shuts up. The voice of doubt, of complaint, of endless circular noise. To master your external world, you must first master the internal one. It's time to weaponize silence. Listen to that. Your heart. Beating in your chest right now. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't check for likes. It doesn't wait for a compliment. It just does its job. It is the ultimate internal scorecard. And yet, you've outsourced the value of your entire existence to people who can't even hear it. You hand them the remote control to your mood, your motivation, your very sense of self. And then you wonder why you feel so powerless, why you're constantly on edge. This chapter is about taking that remote back, smashing it, and building your own control panel from the inside out. We're talking about the silent cost of seeking validation. This isn't a minor social flaw. This is the ultimate strategic error. In the war for your own soul, seeking external validation is handing the enemy your best weapons and then drawing a target on your own back. Let's break down the trap. You post a picture. You make a comment in a meeting. You buy a car. You choose a partner. And then you wait. You wait for the reaction. The likes. The nod of approval. The impressed glance. That moment of waiting. That's you, standing still on the battlefield, waiting for the enemy to signal whether you're allowed to move forward or not. You have a choice. You can wait for a permission slip that is never coming, or you can act on your own authority. And who is this mysterious enemy? It's not some cartoon villain. It's the collective amorphous they. They don't like you. They think you're not good enough. They will be disappointed. You've given this faceless they an endless supply of ammunition. Every time you hesitate, every time you shrink, you are loading the bullet for them. The bullet is the thought, I am not enough without their approval, and you are the one pulling the trigger on yourself. Let's get out of the abstract and into the real world. The real world cost. Think about the person, and maybe that person is you, crafting a social media post. The photo is selected, filtered, debated. The caption is written, rewritten, scrutinized for tone, for wit, for vulnerability. It's a 30-minute operational exercise for a 15-second piece of content. And for what? For a handful of digital thumbs-ups from people you wouldn't call at 3 a.m. when your life is falling apart. The mental exhaustion is a tax. A silent tax on your focus, your energy, your peace. You are paying for fake currency with very real brain power, or consider the person staying in a respectable career to please their parents. The lawyer who wanted to be a musician, the accountant who dreamed of working with her hands. They show up every day, wearing a costume that someone else picked out. The despair this creates isn't loud. It's a quiet hum of resentment in the background of their life. It's the slow leak that deflates their spirit over years, until one day they look in the mirror and don't recognize the hollowed-out person staring back. This is the cost. This is the bill coming due, and it's always paid in the currency of your time, your energy, and your one and only life. So, what's the alternative? The shift is not complicated, but it is the hardest thing you'll ever do. You must switch from an external scorecard to an internal scorecard. Your external scorecard is a list of things you can't control. Likes, comments, praise, promotions, the opinions of others. It's a volatile stock market, and you're trying to build a foundation on it. It's a fool's game. You will always lose. Your internal scorecard is a list of things you can control. Your effort, your integrity, your preparation, your discipline, your willingness to learn, your courage to stand by a decision. This scorecard is solid rock. It cannot be taken from you. It does not fluctuate based on the weather of public opinion. That's the key. It's not about whether they like your decision. It's about whether you can look yourself in the eye and know you made it for the right reasons. The only approval that matters is the approval of the person you see in the mirror. Say that out loud. The only approval that matters is the approval of the person you see in the mirror. That person knows the truth. That person knows when you've cut a corner. That person knows when you've stayed silent out of fear. That person also knows when you've done the hard thing, the right thing, even when no one was watching. And that quiet nod from your own reflection is worth more than 1,000 standing ovations from a crowd. You don't need their permission to start, to change, to leave, to stay, to speak, to be silent. Your authority comes from within. Your validation is an inside job, so, starting today, you conduct an audit. A validation audit. Every time you feel that tug, that need to check, to adjust, to people please, you stop. You ask one question. Am I doing this for them, or am I doing this for me? Is this action aligned with my internal scorecard, or am I just feeding the beast of my external one? If you're writing a post, write it for yourself. If it gets likes, fine. If it doesn't, fine. Your value was not on the line. If you're taking a job, take it because it aligns with your mission, not your mother's expectations. Your life is your command. You are the general. Stop taking orders from the privates. This is the discipline of self-approval. It's a muscle. It will be weak at first. It will ache. You will feel naked without the constant feedback of others. That's the feeling of freedom. Get used to it. Embrace the silence. Because in that silence, you finally get to hear the only voice that has ever truly mattered. Your own. You've reclaimed your territory. You've stopped seeking validation from the outside world. But a fortified mind requires more than just ignoring the noise. It requires actively cultivating its own strength. It's time to talk about the ultimate weapon in your arsenal. You've done the work. You've drawn your line in the sand. You've declared your non-negotiables. You've started to starve the fear and feed the discipline. But there's a problem. A deep, insidious problem. It's the voice that whispers, just when you're about to take a stand, who are you to do this? It's the feeling, deep in your gut, that you're just pretending, that you're an imposter in your own life. That voice, that feeling, is your identity fighting back. And right now, your identity is your greatest weakness. Let's fix that. Let's forge it into your greatest weapon. This is not about positive thinking. This is not about reciting a few affirmations and hoping you feel better. This is a surgical strike on the core of who you believe yourself to be. Because you cannot consistently act in a way that is inconsistent with how you see yourself. Let me say that again because it's the foundation of everything. You cannot consistently act in a way that is inconsistent with how you see yourself. If you see yourself as a fragile, anxious person, you will inevitably revert to fragile, anxious actions. You might have a moment of courage, but you'll soon sabotage it. You'll find a way to return to the familiar misery of your self-concept. You'll collapse back into the person you believe you are. You have a choice. You can remain that person, defined by your past reactions and fears. Or you can, starting right now, define yourself as the person who has already won the war. Your identity precedes your action. It always has. You don't act your way into a new identity. You must become the identity that performs the actions. Think of a soldier. Before he ever sets foot on a battlefield, his identity is forged in boot camp. He is no longer a civilian. He is a Marine. He is disciplined. He is part of a unit. He is resilient. That identity precedes the heroic actions he may later take. The actions are simply an expression of who he has already become. That's the key. You are not a scared person trying to be brave. You are an unbreakable person currently experiencing fear. There is a world of difference between those two statements. So how do you make the shift? How do you tear down the old weak identity and build the fortress? You use the most powerful psychological tool at your disposal, the as-if principle. For the next 30 days, I command you to act as if. Act as if you are already the person who has mastered their mind. Act as if you are already the hero of your story, calm, capable, and in command. When you feel the pull of distraction, you don't ask yourself how you feel. You ask, what would the focused, disciplined version of me do right now? And then you do it. When you feel the surge of anxiety in a social situation, you don't retreat. You ask, how would the confident, charismatic version of me stand? How would he speak? What would he talk about? And then you do it. When you face a setback, you don't collapse into a story of, why does this always happen to me? You ask, how would the resilient, adaptable version of me analyze this problem? What's the next move? And then you make it. You don't need their permission to be this person. You don't need anyone to validate you. This is an internal operation. You are the sculptor, and your identity is the clay. Your actions will rewire your identity to match. It's a feedback loop of power. You act as if, and your brain, which desperately seeks consistency between your actions and your self-belief, will start to rewire itself. It will say, well, I must be disciplined. Because look at all these disciplined things I'm doing. The new actions create new evidence, which shatters the old false identity. But we must fuel this process. We must pour gasoline on the new neural pathways. We do this with repetitive affirmation, not the weak, passive affirmations you might be thinking of. I'm talking about declarative, present-tense statements of fact about the person you are becoming. You will say these words out loud to yourself every single day. You will say them with conviction, even if you don't believe them yet. You will say them until your subconscious mind has no choice but to accept them as law. Repeat this after me. Say it out loud right now. I do not break. I adapt. Pause. I do not quit. I pivot. Pause. I am the commander of my mind, and my mind is a fortress. Pause. This is not a wish. This is a decree. I do not break. I adapt. This means setbacks are not endings. They are data. They are course corrections. A fragile thing breaks. You are not fragile. You are anti-fragile. You get stronger from the pressure. I do not quit. I pivot. This means you do not abandon the mission. You change the tactic. You find another way. Quitting is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Pivoting is the strategy of a master. I am the commander of my mind, and my mind is a fortress. This is the core of it all. External events cannot penetrate the walls without your permission. Criticism, drama, chaos, they all stand outside the gates. You decide what enters. You man the walls. It's not about feeling invincible. It's about the discipline of acting invincible. The feeling will follow. It always does. For the next 30 days, your old identity is dead. It was a ghost, a story you told yourself, and it was a weak story. You are now the author of a new one. Every time you choose to act as if, you are writing a new page. Every time you recite your affirmation, you are binding the book. Stop identifying with your wounds. Stop introducing yourself to people, even in your own head, as the person who is stressed or anxious or overwhelmed. You are the person who handles it. You are the person who finds a way. You are the calm in the chaos. You have a choice. Reinforce the prison of your old self, or walk out as the free, invincible person you were always meant to be. The door is open. All you have to do is act as if you deserve to walk through it. You have forged an identity that cannot be broken. Now you must learn to wield its ultimate power, the power of quiet mastery, the discipline of knowing when to speak, and when your silence says everything. You're busy. I get it. Your day is a blur of emails, notifications, meetings, and tasks. You're constantly moving, constantly reacting. But at the end of the day, what have you actually built? What tangible ground have you taken in the pursuit of your mission? If the answer is not much, you haven't been busy. You've been distracted. You've been scattering your fire. And in the war for your future, scattering your fire is a surefire way to lose. Listen to me, and listen clearly. Focus is not a gentle, open-handed reception of the world. Focus is a fist. It is a weapon. It is a violent, deliberate act of exclusion. You are not passively paying attention. You are actively directing it. And every time you let a notification, a news alert, or someone else's emergency steal that focus, you are not just being polite. You are disarming your own soldiers. You are surrendering your most precious resource without a fight. That ends today, 0:30, 2:30. Focus is a fist, not an open hand. Let's break this down. Your attention is the currency of your achievement. It is the raw material from which every success, every skill, every inch of progress is forged. And you are giving it away for free. You are letting digital panhandlers and time wasters rob you blind, and then you wonder why your account is empty at the end of the day. Think about your open hand. It can catch a few things, but most of it slips through your fingers. It's passive. It's receptive. That is how most people live their lives, catching whatever the world throws at them. Now think about a fist. A fist is powerful. A fist is singular. A fist strikes one target with devastating effect. That's the key. Your focus must be a fist, not an open hand. You have a choice. You can let the world dictate your priorities, scattering your attention across a dozen trivialities. Or you can clench your mental fist and drive it through the one thing that actually matters. You don't need their permission to ignore the noise. The world will always demand your attention. Your boss, your friends, the endless scroll of social media. They are all screaming for a piece of you. Your discipline is the silent iron will to turn away and strike your target. It's not about being busy, it's about being effective. And effectiveness is born from a directed focus. What you focus on expands. Focus on your mission, not the noise. 2:30, 5:30. The daily focus block. Your non-negotiable training, knowing that focus is a fist isn't enough. You have to train that fist every day. You don't build muscle by thinking about lifting weights. You build it by the daily, grueling, repetitive act of lifting. Your focus is the same. This is not a suggestion. This is a prescription. You will implement what I call the daily focus block. This is a non-negotiable, sacred 90-minute block of time at the very start of your workday. This is not the first thing you do. This is the main thing. Everything else, emails, calls, meetings, is administrative debris that you deal with after the block. Here's how it works. First, you eliminate. You turn off every notification. You close every browser tab not related to the single task at hand. You put your phone in another room. You create a fortress of solitude, even if that fortress is a corner of your kitchen table with headphones on. This is a zero distraction zone. That's the key. Second, you select your single target. You do not have a to-do list for this block. You have the do. One thing. The most important high-leverage task that moves the needle on your mission. Writing the key proposal. Practicing the crucial skill. Building the core product. One thing. Third, you execute. For 90 minutes, you do nothing but that one task. When your mind wanders, and it will, you clench the fist and bring it back. When you feel the urge to check your phone, you acknowledge the weakness, and you push through it. This is your daily training. This is the repetition that wins the war. You have a choice in that moment, to be weak and reactive, or to be strong and directed. This 90-minute block is more valuable than 8 hours of fractured, reactive multitasking. It's where you become a weapon, 5:30, 7:15. The real-world math of focus. You think you're good at multitasking? You're not. Neuroscience has proven it. You're not doing multiple things at once. You're rapidly switching your attention between tasks. And every time you switch, you pay a tax, a switching cost. You lose time, you lose momentum, and you create mental fatigue. You are literally making yourself slower and dumber. Let me show you the math. Imagine you have an important report to write. In a state of fractured focus, with emails pinging and messages popping up, that report might take you 8 hours. It will be a slog. It will be draining. The quality will be mediocre because your brain was never fully engaged. Now take that same report. You place it in your 90-minute daily focus block. The phone is gone. The internet is off. It's just you and the work. In that single, focused hour, you will accomplish more than in 5 of those fractured hours. The work will be higher quality. It will be more creative. And you will finish it feeling energized, not drained. See the difference? 8 hours of busy versus 1 hour of impact. This isn't a theory. This is physics. What you focus on expands. Focus on chaos and your day becomes chaos. Focus on your mission, and your mission becomes reality. This is the ultimate discipline. It's the discipline of saying no to 100 good things to say yes to the one great thing. You don't need their permission to do this. This is for you. This is how you win. 15, 7:45. Conclusion. Your life is built in these daily focus blocks. Not in the grand, sweeping gestures, but in the quiet, daily discipline of directing your most powerful weapon, your attention, onto a single point of impact. Stop letting the world pickpocket your potential. Clench your fist, choose your target, and strike. Every single morning. This is how you stop being a spectator in your own life and become the architect. You've mastered your focus. You've learned to direct your energy outward, toward your goals. But there's another side to that coin, an inward force, just as powerful, that you must learn to command. You're going to fail. You're going to get rejected. You're going to feel the sharp sting of criticism. You're going to wake up some mornings with a deep, aching discomfort in your gut, screaming at you to stay in bed, to quit, to take the easy way out. Good. I said, good. Because most people hear that voice and they listen. They feel that pain and they run. They interpret the discomfort as a stop sign, a final verdict from the universe that they're not good enough, that their goal is impossible, that they should just give up. And that is why they lose. You are not most people. Not anymore. Starting right now, you are going to rewire your entire nervous system. You are going to perform a psychological upgrade so fundamental that it will change every single outcome of your life. You are going to learn that pain is not your enemy. Pain is your most loyal navigator. Pain is data, not a destination. Let me say that again, because your old mindset is already trying to reject it. Pain is data. It is feedback. It is information. Nothing more, nothing less. When you feel the burn in your legs during a sprint, that's not a signal to stop. It's data telling you your muscles are working, they're being stressed, they're adapting. When you feel the gut punch of a client saying no, that's not a verdict on your worth. It's data about your pitch, your timing, or your offer. When you feel the loneliness of working late on your craft, that's not proof you're missing out. It's data confirming you're on the path, sacrificing the trivial for the essential. Your entire life you've been misreading the signals. You've been treating a compass like a cage. The obstacle isn't in the way. The obstacle is the way. It's the very thing that shapes you, that forges you, that gives you a competitive edge over everyone who turned back at the first sign of resistance. You have a choice. You can see pain as something that happens to you, a random punishment from a cruel world, or you can see it as data happening for you, a precise instruction manual for what to do next. That's the key. The meaning you assign to the pain determines whether you break through or break down. So how do you stop flinching and start listening? How do you extract the priceless intelligence buried inside every setback? You institute a system. You get disciplined about your debriefs. We're going to borrow a page from the most effective organizations on the planet, the military. They call it the after-action review. Every mission, every training exercise, every single engagement is followed by a brutally honest, immediate debrief. No blame, no excuses, just cold, hard analysis. This is your new ritual. For every failure, every rejection, every moment that sucks, you will not run to comfort. You will not complain to a friend. You will sit down, alone, with a notebook, and you will conduct your own after-action review. You will ask yourself 3 questions, and you will answer them with unflinching honesty. Question 1. What actually happened? Strip away the story. Strip away the drama, the emotions, the "I'm such an idiot" narrative. What are the raw facts? You sent 50 emails and got 2 replies. You asked for the sale and the person hesitated, then said they needed to think about it. You showed up to present and the technology failed. You woke up at 5 a.m. and hit the snooze button 3 times. Just the facts. No judgment. You are a scientist observing an experiment. Data first, drama last. Question 2. What did I learn? This is where you mine the gold. Based on the raw data, what is the feedback telling you? If you sent 50 emails and got 2 replies, the data says your subject line is weak, your list is poor, or your offer is irrelevant. You learned something vital about marketing. If you got rejected after asking for the sale, the data says your closing technique needs work, or you didn't build enough value. You learned a crucial lesson in persuasion. If you hit the snooze button, the data says your evening routine is failing you, or your why isn't strong enough to pull you out of bed. You learned about your current level of commitment. There is no failure, only feedback. The obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way to a smarter, more effective you. What did you learn? Question 3. What is my very next move? This is the most critical step. Analysis is useless without action. You've collected the data, you've extracted the lesson, now you must apply the correction immediately. Your next move is not some vague, distant plan. It is the very next physical action you will take to course correct. The data from the emails says your subject line is weak. Your next move is to spend 1 hour today studying and writing 10 new subject lines. Not tomorrow, today. The data from the failed sale says you need a better close. Your next move is to role-play that closing conversation 3 times before lunch. The data from the snooze button says your why is weak. Your next move is to write out your top 3 reasons for your goal and tape them to your bedside table tonight. You don't need their permission to learn. You don't need the world to be kind to you. You just need the discipline to listen to the data and the courage to take the next step. This is how you build an unbreakable identity. You are no longer someone who fails. You are someone who collects data and adapts. You are a learning organism. You are a predator on the field of life, using every stumble, every setback, every ounce of pain as fuel to become sharper, stronger, and more lethal in your pursuit. Embrace the suck. Because the suck is where the average person quits. And the moment they quit is the moment the path clears for you. The discomfort is the price of admission to a life they will never know. It's not about avoiding pain. It's about leveraging it. That's the key. You've learned to stop running from the storm and start reading the wind. You've made pain your compass. Now let's talk about the one force that can amplify your power or shatter it completely. Your own voice. You are lying in bed and the alarm is about to go off. In these final moments of silence, what is the dominant thought in your mind? Is it a surge of purpose? A clear picture of the first decisive move you will make? Or is it a dull dread? A low-grade hum of anxiety about the emails, the demands, the unexpected problems that will inevitably hijack your next 16 hours? If it's the latter, you are not living. You are enduring. You are a prisoner of your own calendar, a reactor to stimuli, a cork bobbing on the ocean of other people's priorities. And that ends now. Today we break that chain. You will stop enduring your days, and you will start executing them. That's the key. The shift from passenger to pilot. From victim to commander. It starts before the first ray of sunlight. The war is not won at noon in the thick of the fight. The war is won the night before, in the quiet of your own command post. This is the non-negotiable ritual. This is the pre-battle briefing. You are giving your mind its marching orders. You are not making a to-do list. A to-do list is a wish list, a collection of chores that weighs you down. You are identifying your top 3 priorities, just 3. The 3 objectives that, if accomplished, will make that day a strategic victory for your mission. Nothing else matters as much as these 3. Write them down. Not on your phone, where a notification can steal your focus, but on a physical piece of paper. This act is a contract you sign with yourself. This is the choice. The choice between intention and reaction. You are choosing intention. Now, let's look at the battlefield of the morning. Contrast 2 people. Person A, their alarm rings. Their hand fumbles for the phone. They swipe away the alarm and immediately, reflexively, they open their email or their social media. Their mind, still soft and impressionable from sleep, is instantly flooded with the agendas of others. A complaint from a client, a demand from their boss, the curated highlight reel of someone else's life. Their first conscious thought of the day is a reaction to someone else's needs. Their entire day has been framed, not by them, but by the outside world. They are already on the defensive. They are already enduring. Then there's person B. Their alarm rings. They do not reach for their phone. They reach for the notepad on their nightstand. They look at the 3 priorities they wrote the night before. Their mind, clear and focused, immediately locks onto the plan. They know the first move. They have already planned their first victory. While person A is drowning in the chaos of other people's demands, person B is already in motion, executing a plan they themselves designed. They are proactive. They are attacking the day on their own terms. Which person do you want to be? Which person do you think controls their destiny? It's not about luck. It's about discipline. The discipline of controlling that first hour. The discipline of protecting your mind. Because here is the cold, hard truth you have to accept. You do not find time for your mission. You command time for your mission. Let that sink in. The phrase, "I don't have time," is the mantra of the week. It's a confession. It means I lack the discipline to prioritize what is truly important to me. It means I have surrendered my sovereignty over my own life. You have the same 24 hours as everyone who has ever built an empire, created a masterpiece, or forged a powerful body. The difference is not the quantity of time. It's the quality of your command over it. You are the general, and the day is your battlefield. A general does not wander onto the field and ask the enemy what they should do today. A general has a map, a strategy, clear, unambiguous objectives. Your 3 priorities are your objectives. The distractions, the interruptions, the petty demands, that is the enemy. Your will is your army. Your first command decision is to guard your morning. Your first 2 to 3 hours are your most valuable strategic asset. This is when your mind is sharpest, your will is strongest. This is not the time to be checking comments, answering trivial emails, or sitting in pointless meetings. This is the time for deep, focused work on priority number 1. You must defend this time with a ferocity that would make a mother wolf look tame. You lock the door. You put the phone on airplane mode. You burn through the resistance and you execute. This is not a suggestion. This is an order. Execute your day. Don't endure it. You will face resistance. The phone will buzz. An urgent message will pop up. A colleague will need just 5 minutes. This is the test. This is where you learn what you're made of. In that moment, you have a choice. You can react and become a servant to the urgent but unimportant. Or you can remember your contract. You can look at your 3 priorities and ask, does this interruption serve my mission? If the answer is no, and it almost always is, the response is simple. I'm in the middle of a deep work block. I can address this at 2 p.m. You don't need their permission to own your time. You are the general. You command time for your mission. This is how you build momentum. One executed priority creates the energy for the next. A day of execution builds into a week of progress. A week of progress builds into a month of undeniable results. And a year of those results? That's a transformed life. It all starts the night before, with a piece of paper and 3 non-negotiable promises to yourself. You don't need more time. You need more discipline. The discipline to plan, the discipline to focus, the discipline to say no. It's not about being busy. It's about being effective. It's not about surviving the day. It's about conquering it. You have a choice. Every single evening and every single morning you have a choice. Will you let the world dictate your terms, or will you impose your will upon the world? Will you endure or will you execute? The answer to that question determines everything. You've taken command of your time. You've planned your victories. But a commander must also master the art of communication, knowing when to speak and when to wield a far more powerful tool. Silence. The war is over. I'm not asking. I'm telling you. The war is over. You've marched through the trenches of your own mind. You've faced the enemy, the fear, the excuses, the need for permission, the addiction to comfort. You've armed yourself with the disciplines of action, of silence, of ownership. You've taken the hill. The battlefield is silent. So why are so many soldiers afraid of the peace? They spend their entire lives fighting, that the idea of victory feels foreign. It feels wrong. They get comfortable in the struggle. They don't know who they are without the conflict. Let me be clear. That version of you is dead. He died on this battlefield. He was a necessary sacrifice. Do not mourn him. Do not try to resurrect him. Your mission now is not to keep fighting. Your mission is to live as the victor. That's the key. Victory is not a one-time event you celebrate. Victory is a default setting. 045, 315. Victory is a default setting, not a destination. Think about your life up to this point. You've been chasing victory like it's a finish line. I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be confident when I lose the weight. I'll be at peace when everyone finally approves of me. That's a lie. A pathetic, disempowering lie. Victory isn't a destination you arrive at. It's the road you choose to walk every single day. It's the air you breathe. It's the posture you hold when no one is watching. You don't win the war and then retire. You have a choice. You can slip back into the old patterns, let the weeds of doubt grow back, and wait for the next crisis to define you. Or you can make victory your daily practice. You wake up and you choose discipline over lethargy. You choose action over anxiety. You choose silent confidence over noisy validation. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do. The victor doesn't wake up feeling powerful every day. He wakes up and does the powerful thing regardless of how he feels. That's the repetition that matters. That's the reinforcement that carves the new neural pathways. You are not practicing for a future victory. You are expressing your victory through your present actions. This is your new normal. Not a peak experience, not a highlight reel moment. The mundane, daily, relentless application of everything you've learned. Brushing your teeth with purpose. Handling a frustrating email with calm authority. Choosing the gym over the couch, not as a punishment, but as a confirmation of who you are. You don't need their permission to live this way. You don't need the world to validate your win. The war was internal. The victory is internal. The evidence will show up externally, but you cannot be dependent on that evidence to believe your own truth. Your truth is this: you have the tools. You have the blueprint. The rest of your life is just construction, day by day. Brick by brick, 3.15, 6 tau. The ripple of victory, and when you live from this place of internal victory, something profound happens. Your external world has no choice but to fall in line. It's a ripple effect. It's cause and effect, the most fundamental law of the universe. You've won the internal war. Now watch the external chaos start to dissolve. Look at your career. The person who is no longer desperate for approval commands respect. The person who operates from a core of discipline delivers consistent, high-quality work. Opportunities don't come to the most talented. They come to the most reliable, the most solid, the one who seems unfazed by the storm. That's you. Now, you stop attracting professional chaos because you are no longer chaotic inside. Look at your relationships. You stop attracting emotional vampires and needy predators. Why? Because you are no longer emitting the signal of a victim. You have nothing for them to feed on. Your silence and calm repel their drama. You begin to attract other victors, other builders, other adults. You set boundaries not as a negotiation but as a statement of fact. This is what I accept. This is what I do not. You don't need their permission to protect your peace. Look at your health. The late-night junk food binges? That was a symptom of internal stress. The avoidance of the gym? That was a negotiation with the enemy of comfort. But the war is over. Those behaviors are relics of a defeated army. Taking care of your physical vessel is no longer a chore. It's the maintenance of your headquarters.
It's the logical action of a commander who has won the war and now must govern in peace. The ripple effect is automatic.
It is inevitable. You cannot have a calm, ordered, powerful interior and a chaotic, failing exterior. It is impossible. The outside must eventually reflect the inside. That's the key. Your primary job is not to manage the external world. Your job is to maintain the victory within it. The rest is just logistics. 7:45. The final mantra and conclusion, so we arrive here. At the end of this manual, at the beginning of your life, you have a final set of orders. A final command. This is your mantra. I want you to say this to yourself every morning when you look in the mirror. I want you to hear it in your head when doubt tries to whisper. This is not an affirmation. This is a declaration of fact. Say it with me. The war is over when I say it is over. You have a choice. You declare the ceasefire. You decide the conflict has ended. The enemy is defeated when I stop listening. The enemy's only weapon is your attention. Stop supplying him with ammunition. Turn away. The voice has no power if you do not grant it an audience. From this day forward, I am the victor. This is your identity. Not I will be, not I want to be. I am. It is your present reality. Wear it. Now I will go and live like one. This is the instruction. The action. The only thing that matters, go and live. Like the victor you are, the war is over. The enemy is defeated. From this day forward, you are the victor. Now go and live like one. You've mastered your internal state. You've claimed your victory. But a victor must also master his most precious resource, the very fabric of his life. It's time to talk about the one commodity you can never get back. Let's be perfectly clear. The enemy in your head is a liar. It is a coward. It is a parasite that cannot survive in the face of your direct, consistent, and relentless action. You have the intelligence briefs. You know its tactics. You have the weapons, your focus, your discipline, your rituals. You have the strategy. Declare war, stop negotiating, forge a new identity, and execute your days with precision. This is no longer about knowledge. This is about a single, brutal decision. The decision to end this now. To stop believing the propaganda. To stop reliving past defeats. To take the field today and every day as the commander of your own life. The battle is won, moment by moment, thought by thought, action by action. The invisible war becomes visible victory. But only if you act. Your mission, effective immediately, is this. Before this day ends, you will identify one thought, one single lie the enemy has been telling you, and you will prove it wrong with one decisive action. Not tomorrow, not later, today. That is your first official act of victory. Now go, win,